Eurostar's new high-speed service from London to Amsterdam is running a bit behind schedule, 16 months to be precise. The service was originally scheduled to launch in December 2016. After a series of delays, the first customers will now be able to board on April the 4th. Eurostar inaugurated the route on Tuesday. There was a sneak preview to a special group, and that included CNN's Anna Stewart.
For 2 decades, their trains have barreled under the English Channel, revolutionising travel between the UK and Europe. Since launching in the 90s, Eurostar says it's doubled the number of visitors travelling from London to Paris and Brussels. Now its outgoing CEO hopes a new service from London to Amsterdam and Rotterdam will deliver on a long-awaited promise.
We have so many customers saying, when are you going to Amsterdam? So that's it, we're starting.
With prices starting at $50 each way, Eurostar is pitching itself as an alternative to low-cost airlines like Ryanair and EasyJet. But it's going to take a lot longer. Flying takes around an hour and a half, whereas this will take 3 hours, 41 minutes. Of course, it goes straight to the city centre, though, and Eurostar says it'll save time and money on getting to the airport. Brexit has actually boosted Eurostar. It's not just the weak pound, but all the EU and UK officials shuttling between London and Brussels for talks.
And also London-Paris, because a lot of companies are thinking, oh, maybe we should establish a subsidiary or something, and let's do it now while we're part of the EU.
Crossing into the Netherlands wasn't easy for Eurostar. It required hundreds of millions of pounds in investment and years of negotiations with Dutch officials. It's taken much longer than planned, and some hurdles still remain.
The huge problem for Eurostar is that they are launching, effectively, a train that only goes in one direction.
The UK and the Netherlands have yet to come to an agreement on passport checks, and they're not expected to do so until the end of next year. So until then, you've got to get a separate train to Brussels, where you go through passport control, and then you can hop on the Eurostar back to London. So you can get from London to Amsterdam in time for lunch, but you'll be hard-pressed to make it back for dinner.
Hang on. So Anna Stewart has got back. You've been to Amsterdam and back. So on the way back, you've got to change in Brussels. Is that right?
You do. You have to get out of the station at Brussels, go around to the other platform and go through the Eurostar as if you were coming from Brussels from a holiday or a work business trip, and you have to go through security and passport control. So the way back currently is clunky, but it's supposed to be a temporary measure. But, you know, I didn't get back for dinner, but I did get back for you, Richard, because I wouldn't dare miss it.
Quite right, too. What happens next, though, post-Brexit? Because post-Brexit, the whole question of single market, freedom of movement, it shouldn't, in theory, make too much difference, because on non-Schengen bases, Eurostar does have security and immigration controls in the various stations.
It does. I mean, the question is whether the passport controls could get slightly more complicated for the Eurostar, but really, in terms of trains, we're not looking at too much of a problem. Eurostar could actually win in this scenario, Richard, because actually aviation is the trickiest sector on all of this, and that is who ultimately they are competing against, particularly low-cost carriers in Europe. Now, currently, this is the trickiest part to negotiate because there is no WTO rules to fall back on. With aviation, it is all about the single aviation market, which is under the EU. Once we leave that without any agreement, and this is doomsday scenario, but planes would be grounded in the UK.
All right, so on the basis, and I've done this story more times than I've had hot dinners, which is faster, the train or the plane to Paris? Now, of course, the train is. Which is faster, the train or the plane to Amsterdam? Come on, Anna. When you're going on one of those luxury city break weekends that you're wont to do, which would you take?
Well, you what? Next time I go on one of these city break weekends, I'm going to bring you and we'll do a race. I think the plane would get in faster, but I think it would be a tight thing, and I think the train, at least on the way out there, would be nicer.